happy midweek, and I hope your week is going okay. If you're, hopefully you're getting through it, and if you're in a region where there's not ideal weather, snow, storms, power outages, things like that, I hope things are hopefully looking up for you and being fixed and getting back on track. This stream's a little bit different because, first of all, I'm going to keep my video off, face off screen because I'm not feeling the best. I woke up with a headache, so who knows how things are going to go, but I figured, you know what, it's probably a great time to just relax and just kind of unwind and do something that brings joy, but also just turns my mind off a little bit and helps me to relax. So if you're kind of in the same boat, lots of things are happening, you know, people are getting sick, kids are getting sick, it's kind of that season, isn't it? Then yeah, feel free to lurk, have me on in the background, do this along with me, do some art, play with your stationery. Mark, how's it going? Inky, oh, my kid, yeah. If you were on my Monday stream, I stream on Wednesdays now, or Mondays now, because I am trying to sort of incorporate planning and journaling into my streams. And so on Monday, I was doing a journal with me and also just drawing flowers. And one of my kids was homesick. And, you know, in true kid fashion, she didn't really understand, you know, not to interrupt for every little thing. And so, of course, I got interrupted for every little thing, things she wanted to show me, just to ask how long my stream was going to be, you know, things like that. So it's all good. She's feeling better. She's back in school. Yesterday, there was no school. There was just a professional development day for the teachers. And so the kids had the day off. And today they're back. So that's another reason why I was like, I need to stream. I need to kind of get back into my routine and hanging out with you all. So, so yeah, thanks for asking, Inky. I feel like it's been a while. Oh, Sir Cobalt, how's it going, friend? I hope you've been well. Yeah, you have to get a lot of things done. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if it's, you know, I hope I'm not getting sick. So let's cross our fingers. But I just feel we've had a major shift in weather as well, just not as cold as the rest of Canada, but we have gone from, you know, sunny days to lots of rain again. And so I think just the shift in weather sometimes gives me headaches. And so it's okay. I'll survive. Your kids have been sick for like 3 weeks. Oh no. I'm sending good vibes because having them homesick, you know, it's a lot. It's exhausting and also, you know, worrying, and you're just hoping they feel better for their sake. And also, you know, I don't know about your kids, but mine complain a lot. They're little drama queens. So even if they have the sniffles and it's not that big of a deal, you know, it's blown way out of proportion sometimes, which, you know, it is what it is. They get it from my husband, is what I say. But yeah, I know I have heard a lot of, you know, a lot of parents, saying that their kids are sick. It is that kind of, it's that time, right? Winter and weather changing and things like that. So, lots of things are going around. And of course, you know, kids catch colds and germs and pass it on. So, hopefully they do get better soon. And, yeah, like I said, if, you know, you're dealing with other things as well, hopefully everything sort of gets better throughout the week and throughout the next month. I'm happy that we're finally at the end of January. It feels like, I don't know, there were like 300 days in this month. Things just went by fast, but also really slow. So I'm kind of looking forward to February, and yeah, as the weather kind of gets better probably for spring, but we'll see. So regardless, we're going to do some painting today because I feel like, especially when we're painting flowers, I always feel like it just lifts my mood a little bit. Not only because we're doing art and, you know, having fun with inks, but also because flowers and botanicals just naturally lift my mood. And they kind of make me think of spring and summer and being outside, being in nature. And so that's kind of the great part about painting flowers and botanicals in general. So if this is your first time joining my stream on an off day, but regardless, you're welcome. You're welcome to paint along with me or try this out later if you have time. I'm Corolla. I love stationery. I love painting with fountain pen inks and paints. And yeah, just playing with stationery. So today we're going to do a floral painting similar to this in an abstract style. I'm going to do it in two sketchbooks that I like to use specifically for painting. The first one is the Galen Leather Everyday Book. It has TRP, Tomoe River Paper, and I'm almost at the end of it, which is really exciting because I love the crinkle of the paper and just sort of, flipping through it and seeing how my style sometimes evolves, how I use different colors, and what kind of colors I sort of am drawn to. And that does vary, depending on, sometimes I get new inks, I want to really play with them, and that's why they're in here. But also sometimes, when I pick out inks, they're based on like seasonal moods and what I'm kind of into, if it's moody or bright or cheery. So it's kind of fun to flip through sketchbooks and see that. And my second sketchbook is a watercolor paper sketchbook. It's a Hahnemühle, really high quality cold press paper. And it's really been fun to also do painting on watercolor paper, because obviously watercolor paper is really great for inks and paints, but it's kind of fun to do a contrast between thin paper like Tomoe River paper and thick paper like watercolor paper, and kind of contrast and compare how the inks sort of behave and look, and so that's been kind of fun as well. So those are the two sketchbooks or books that I'm using, just in case you're curious. But my process is basically we're going to paint with fountain pen inks, and I kind of do just like paint outlines and stuff like that, and then I'm going to do line drawings on top using a dip pen or dip nib. And yeah, and we're gonna see how it turns out. I don't have any expectations. That's kind of how these things go for me, and we kind of see how we go. And feel free to chat, feel free to ask questions. Let me know how you're doing. What's your latest acquisition? Are there any inks you're really excited about? Because I always like to find new inks to try, and see what people are using and what everyone else is excited about. Hey Spicy, how's it going? In case you're stuck in the blizzard as well. I'm not. But if anyone else is. Hey RKO Pen, how's it going? Oh, cute. Someone got stuck in the trash bin again. Oh, why are cats like this? I love it. Ooh, I did want to mention one other thing before I kind of get started with this. And that is, if you're not following White Bear Pens on Instagram, I highly recommend. Michaela is awesome, really nice person, really kind person. I've met her a couple of times at pen shows, and she makes really beautiful, sparkly, vibrant, fun pens. And she's running a raffle on Instagram, or giveaway, or whatever you might call this. But it's to give away a bunch of different things. So I think it started with this beautiful pen, and now she's got a few other things from people and makers and brands that have donated a few things to the raffle. And so yeah, check it out on Instagram. And yeah, join if you can. Let me share the link. Hope that works. That should work. Yeah. Goes for a great cause as well. So yeah, check that out if you can. I'm okay, Spicy. My kids have been sort of sniffly and, they've had a cold and stuff like that. So today I woke up with a headache, not feeling the best. So yeah, that's why I'm off camera, because you don't need to see me sniffling over here. But I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Just a headache, the usual kind of stuff where you're kind of feeling off. I just feel a little bit off, but that's okay. I will get through it. And that's why we're going to do artsy, fun, sort of just chill painting, because it doesn't require a lot of mind work. It just requires my hand to do some fun things. So how are you doing, friend? How's your planner situation? So the paints that I'm using, inks. You're going to have to excuse me if I say the weirdest things. I'm using 4 fountain pen inks in different vials. So I'll let you know what they are, because the numbers correspond to what the inks are, obviously. So the first one is Robert Oster. Let me put it in here. Robert Oster and Vancouver Pen Shop collaboration ink. So this is an ink that was made for the Vancouver Pen Shop. And it's called Van Pen 86. And it is Tutong. Thanks so much for the follow and welcome. And it is a really, really nice olivey green brown. Very, very pretty. It's kind of that, like, if you're into earthy, muted sort of shades, that's a really, really good one. The second one I'm using is a shimmer ink, and it is Ferris Wheel Press Currant Crumble Pie. I thought, you know what? I would love some pie right now. But we are going to have it in ink form. And this is like a deep ruby red type of shade with shimmer. So we're going to have some fun with shimmers today. Okay, so those two. I've been reading nonstop. Oh, that's good, Spicy. Found a new hobby, which is pretty fun. Hi, Pop Out Gal. How's it going, friend? Happy Wednesday. How are you doing? I hope your week has been okay and not super busy. Okay, I'm trying. Oh, this one is Tom Studio Iris. It's not a shimmer ink, but it is a vibrant purple. Oop. So, can add that in there. I don't really have a planner yet. Yeah, for now, I have something that works, but I'll buy a planner later. You know what, Spicy? You don't even have to buy a planner. If that's not, like, if you're not feeling it, I know I'm asking you because I like kind of teasing you about it, that you don't have a planner. But honestly, if you're not drawn to planners, or you're just like, you know what? I can get by with a notebook and just writing tasks down and stuff. Hey, it's all good. Whatever works. As long as you're staying on top of things and being organized and feel like, you're not overwhelmed by things. Because for me, I'm the type of person that has to write things down to feel like I'm grounded. So, whether it's planners or notebooks or whatever sort of format you like that works for you, I think stick with it. Hi, Brooklyn Becca. Good morning. Oh, that's okay. Thank you. I'm okay. I know. I hope that it doesn't get worse. Like I've had headaches. Headaches frequently, things like that. And a lot of times it is because of the shift in weather or high pressure in the air. And so it's not new. It's just one of those things, like as soon as it hits, I'm like, okay, my vibe is now like one level down, which is, it's okay, but I've got my tea, so that's helpful. I've got my little tea in a mug. Yeah, that's a good question, Paul Bagel. What have you been reading, Spicy? Anything good? Mostly fantasy books. Okay. I do have some recommendations. Ooh, I've read them all. I would love fantasy recommendations. You know, especially if it's spicy fantasy. But any kind of like fantasy that's not too complicated to follow. A lot of times I'm sort of like, I start reading a little bit, or if I'm listening to the audiobook, which I love listening to audiobooks because as a mom, I'm always kind of doing things. So I kind of like being able to listen to a book while I'm doing chores and stuff like that. But yeah, sometimes I find, you know, especially with fantasy, sometimes it's hard to follow just because they're like introducing you to a world or a species, characters, things like that. And it's like a lot of like character building and stuff that sometimes is not that easy to follow. So, but I can do it if it's really, really interesting. All right, let's swatch these inks because otherwise let me forget where I have them. Okay, so we have Van Pen 86, which I like using. I kind of refer to it as like more green, but it is really earthy in the way that, you know, you get like the brown, the yellowish gold, those tones coming out. So it's really nice that way. And then we have Currant Crumble Pie, which is a shimmer red, ruby red pink type shade. Then we have Robert Oster Violet Clouds. So it is this really lovely lavender purple kind of color. And then, oh, okay, I think I switched these up. So it should be this. And then we have Tom Studio Iris, which is this really nice sort of deep purple. So I'll put it here. Bright purple. So let's see. I'll start with the iris because it's a little bit there. It's very vibrant. I'll put some of that. And then Violet Clouds. Ooh, recommendations. Okay, I'm gonna have to save this. Fantastic on audio is even better. Thank you, Sandy. I have something that works decently well. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't feel the need to plan like daily or like super granular stuff, then weeklies are great. And use paper that you like. I know this is a joke at this point. Yeah. A Song of Ice and Fire. Yes. Game of Thrones is really good. Yep. Even though it's unfinished. Yeah. What type of fantasy? I'm into like gentle fantasy. Like like introduction to fantasy. I'm not into like super, I don't know. Is like what levels of fantasy are there? Because I'm like in the very like general, starting to like, you know what I mean? I don't get too deep into like robots and stuff like that. But I do like dragons and think like Sarah J. Maas, of course, and things like that. Fourth Wing, but I wasn't a super fan of that. Let's try this for a sec. But something along like those lines. Popular fantasy, maybe. So I think with this sort of burgundy red, ruby color, I think I'm going to just use it as like an accent instead of a main color for flowers. So it's kind of like an extra, like extras in a bouquet. And maybe I'll layer a little bit because it's a shimmer ink. I kind of like having it run through the whole piece because shimmer does a really good job of pulling a piece together because you can sort of see that shimmer throughout. It's just a really nice sort of point of interest too. So I think I'm just going to keep it very simple. Oh, recommend Libro.fm. Libro supports local bookshops and avoids the big corporate alternative that generally owns the market. Yeah. Oh, also, thanks for Cobalt. Also, when I do audiobooks, it's usually through my local library. So I am willing to wait if I have to, but to an extent, I guess. All right, let's do the green. It's kind of funny because now, as I'm painting with these inks, I pulled these inks from my vial, my ink vial shelf, and I kind of based it just on like colors that I like, that I was just kind of drawn to, but also colors I haven't really used in a little while. And it turns out it kind of looks like, I don't know, this palette sort of works in, like they're all kind of dark, moody, maybe it reminds me more of like a fall palette, but the purple I like. I think that brightens it up for sure, because otherwise it would look like dried flowers or something. But it's all good. Yeah, I also don't buy books. If I can put them on hold at the library, I'm all for it. I put a bunch of books on hold at a time so that even if it's like a week's wait, usually I'm able to work my way through different books. You're not getting your money. Yeah, I love those colors too. It's kind of funny, isn't it? I think I started because I was like, ooh, I kind of want to do like a light purple lavender tone with like a reddish burgundy ruby color. And then I was like, you know what? I think I need something bright and like vibrant in there. So I picked this deep purple to go with this lavender. These two are actually shimmer inks. So Robert Oster Violet Clouds and Ferris Wheel Press Currant Crumble Pie, they're shimmer inks. So I wanted to kind of offset with a couple of standard inks as well. But that is kind of nice. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to do the same sort of thing in my watercolor sketchbook. It's going to be a smaller piece just because of the space that I have in this book, but similar kind of feel. But I will swatch them on the side here. And this time, let's see, I'm going to start with the Violet Clouds. Add a little water in there. I think it's really saturated. Ah! Whoa. Wow, that flew. Great. And then I'll add a little bit of this reddish burgundy color. Maybe have smaller flowers here. I just find with painting on watercolor paper with inks, if you just use the ink itself, it's going to look very saturated and then dry out. Not dry out. Run out on the paper, I guess. But if you add a little bit of water, you can sort of spread the ink a little bit more. So you can take up a little bit more space that way. And you can get a little bit of the less saturated version of the ink. Something like that. Oh wow, Spicy coming in with a list. Thank you. Inks and books. Yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're talking about books, fantasy, or anything else really. Any recommendations of anything good that you've read lately, or that you think other people might enjoy as well, especially if they have an audio version that I can find at my local library. But not necessary. I know, Papa Gallery too. I'm like, I need to take note of this. Let me see. Yeah, some good recommendations. Thank you. Michael J. Sullivan. Interesting. Yeah, I read Mistborn, or listened to it. Along those lines for sure. I'm like, yeah, I'm more into those types of books. A little spiciness is also appreciated sometimes, you know. Keeps things interesting, but I come from a history of listening to thriller, mystery. I still love that. Like anything that's, thriller or like murder mystery and stuff. That's kind of my go-to and probably what I grew up listening to. And I only got into fantasy related or like the fantasy genre probably in the last, 5 years or so. So I'm kind of new to it in that way. So I'm like literally open to like anything in terms of trying it out, getting to know the genre a little bit. And I don't mind trying a variety of different like styles of writing as well, depending on how the authors sort of portray worlds and stuff like that. So add a little water because this is very purple. It's very dark. I like dark. It's just when I'm drawing on top of it, it's hard to sort of see those lines sometimes. And so if I can lighten up a shade just so you can kind of see line drawings on top, then it sort of works to my advantage in that way. I'll add a little bit more of this. Then we have the green-ish, very earthy green. I'm using non-round, or I'm trying out non-rounded brushes. So this one is very sort of like, what is this called? Flat. So it's like, reminds me of kind of like a stub or an architect type of nib, if we're going to compare it to fountain pens, fountain pen nibs. But it's kind of interesting when you're painting with it, especially when you're trying to get certain shapes. And so I'm not used to using flat brushes for like leaves and stuff. And so I'm kind of pushing myself to explore the shape of a paintbrush, because I tend to just go with like a round paintbrush because I can sort of manipulate the shape of the outline that I want to achieve. But obviously with something like this, where you have that edge to work with, it's fun, but also interesting depending on the kinds of shapes you want to get. So regardless of whether I like it or not, I always kind of push myself to play around with different shapes and different brushes, because in the end, I don't really care if it looks exactly like a leaf, or, if you have some weird edges going on here. That's not the main objective of having fun with inks, playing with paintbrushes, trying different tools, stuff like that. So it's just kind of fun. And the more you use different types of tools and shapes, the more you get comfortable using them. And that's part of it too, is if I feel comfortable using them, then I know how to sort of manipulate them to give me the shape that I want or that I'm aiming for. So now this is dry. You can see where you have the shimmer, shading, sheen. Lots of it in this one. But a little bit of shimmer coming through. It's kind of like a gold shimmer on in this red ruby color. That's kind of nice. In more of the fantasy realm, ink and sigil. I filled up my queue at the library with books that people were recommending. Oh, largely from the Well-Appointed Desk book club. Interesting. Didn't realize the one I ended up was spicy until I was listening at work in the office. Yeah, so we paused. Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? It's like the things you listen to on your own time, in your own space. It is what it is, right? It's up to you. But as soon as it's like someone else can hear, or you're listening to it out loud or whatever, or if you're reading the book, it's like someone can pick this up and read it and see what I'm reading. All of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but it is kind of funny. All the Sarah J. Maas SJM books. When I listened to them on audio, and as I was going through them, I was just like, oh, if anyone could hear me now, if anyone could hear what I'm listening to right now. Ooh, I like the title, The Dandelion Dynasty. Lord of the Rings Ob, which is funny because I just finished going through the trilogy probably like a month ago. Yeah, a month ago. It was like in December. And I got all the audiobooks at the library. I had to wait, of course, but yeah, I went through them. And it's so good. I love Lord of the Rings. Such a good series. All right, so this is Robert Oster. And Vancouver Pen Shop. Van Pen 86. This one is Ferris Wheel Press, Currant, Crumble Pie. This one is Robert Oster, Violet Clouds. And this one, Tom Studio, Iris. And I'm using the Kakimori pigment ink, pigment black ink, to draw on top. Because I like how it sort of sits on top of ink, standard ink, shimmer inks, things like that. So last one got 40 books in the 40 books in the series. But you can read any in any order. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know. They're self-contained. Yeah. Terry Pratchett for the kids. Interesting. Thank you for all those recommendations. I'm definitely going to go through, once I'm done streaming, I'll go through and write them all down. And then, yeah, I just put them on hold at the library and read them or listen to them as they kind of come in. I don't really know what's going on here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna leave it be. All right, let's add a little bit of color. I hate French publishers, Spicy. They're the bane of your existence. It's not a stream if Spicy doesn't get auto-modded. These are all the books I want to read. Okay, cool. This girl just broke into a private library and was discovered by the dangerous owner of said library. And things took a turn and were just a rogue heist. The Wren in the Holly Library. I like it. I wanted to buy from a local library. Now I have to do it online from other small businesses. Oh. Ah, French publishers. I see. Hi, Dragon Drawer. How's it going? How are you doing? I like the murder mystery. Or I like murder mystery, Papa Gal. Yeah. I always appreciate a warning. Yeah. I love murder mysteries. Like they're kind of they're the staple of what I read, I think. I kind of go from murder mystery or thriller suspense type of books to I also like autobiographies and nonfiction as well. And so I kind of, balance between like fiction and nonfiction type books where like I can actually learn some things too from, people's perspective on stuff and whatever. But I like to kind of get lost in different worlds and stuff. So that's why, murder mystery is fun because you kind of get lost in like a story of whodunit. But fantasy is nice because you can get lost in like a literal world. So you're escaping from, the way that we know things are to a world where it's like, a whole new set of rules and species and way of doing things and stuff like that. And that's really interesting too. So the Morbid podcast. I haven't heard of that, Arco Pen. I'm going to write that down because, I have a variety of podcasts I listen to as well. And like murder mystery type or true crime and all those things are at the top of the list, as are other kind of podcasts too. But so this one is pretty much done, but I'm going to let it dry because there's still some ink that's wet, so. But let's tackle this. dry. Yeah. So this one's kind of cool because I layered some of the shimmer inks. Well, I layered some inks on top of inks, and then so you can kind of see that shimmer coming through and a little bit of sheen over here. A lot of sheen, actually. I don't think I have space to write what these inks are. Which wasn't great pre-planning, but that's okay. I'm just gonna write them in short form, I think. The Farseer trilogy in French is not a trilogy. It's a 6-7 books and it's double the money. Oh, wow. Because it's in French. It's en français. Oh yeah, Do the Wren in the Holy Library books stand alone. This one. Ooh, it's probably as small as I've written in a little while. I don't have small handwriting anymore. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, my writing was really, really small, compact, and it's only in the last maybe like 8 to 10 years, maybe. Yeah, maybe in the last 10 years. My writing's gotten just like bigger and more pronounced. I think that's why I like stubs and architects and stuff, where I can make my writing sort of stand out, and I don't know if I can blame my eyes and just aging in general for that evolution in handwriting size and style, or if it's just like, you know, as you get older your writing can sort of change. I don't know. It'd be interesting to kind of compare and find out and look into it, but I've definitely noticed that, and it's partly why when I'm using fountain pens, I started with extra fines and fines, and now I've gone to broad and custom grinds where I can get like lots of line variation and stuff. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly why, but it's just kind of interesting. And so when I do have to kind of write small because grid size or, you know, space or something like that, I'm just like, oh yeah, I used to write this small naturally, but I don't anymore. I've read a lot of the Farseer books, but it's been a minute. Oh, you lost me for a little bit. It could also be my network. I had some glitches happen in my last stream on Monday when that wasn't like, I thought I kind of cut out a little bit, and then when I was looking at the VOD, it definitely cut me out. So the last like 8 minutes is like a whole different VOD. So it's kind of like, what? So it could also be me. Who knows? So weather related, or I don't know. But I'm glad you're back. I'm glad I'm back. Glad you're back. Felt pretty standalone as those go. That's cool. I really love Laurel K. Hamilton's Anita Blake series. She's a newcomer and Vampire Huntress. Ooh, there are spicy moments. Interesting. As long as it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. I kind of like when there's like some sort of closure. Or if I get into the next book, it's like, it closes the loop pretty quickly. I don't like hanging. Naomi Novak. Interesting. Yeah, I'm so far behind on my reading. I know. You know what, Dragon Drawer? I go through like phases of it kind of depends too because I put a lot of books on hold at the library. So, as they come in, I kind of get into reading those books. But I do kind of go through phases where like I just want to read as much as possible, whether it's audiobook or physical, and then I go through phases where I'm just like, I don't really want to read anything. I just want to like watch YouTube videos and, or listen to podcasts, and that's all. That's all I want to do. I don't want to get into like a bunch of books. So, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I should read again. So. Just as long as everyone else isn't caught off guard by it not being closed door. The other thing I found when putting books on hold if you have the Libby app, the library app, there's a feature on there called Skip the Line. And not everyone knows about this. So if you do know, that's fine. That's kudos to you because it's actually a great feature. But it's like sometimes it's kind of like a secret thing where if you do have books on hold and it's like a long wait list, if you go into the app, sometimes you get this like lucky 4-leaf clover on your hold and you can take it out for 7 days. And so you essentially skip the line. And as long as you read it within 7 days, but it keeps it on hold for you, so you don't have to take the skip the line book. You can just wait for the full, or you can wait until you actually get the book, because then you can keep it for longer, especially if it's like a long read. But it's kind of nice sometimes, like it's surprised me a few times where I've been waiting for months for a book or something, and all of a sudden it's like, you can skip the line. Do you want it for 7 days? I'm like, yes, but I have to listen to it within 7 days. So I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to do the squat this week. Yeah, I've booked a lot for Thursday on. Roads look okay. Just down branches, yeah. Branches, debris, things like that in a storm. It's just super inconvenient. I'm trying to listen to less news and some books. Yeah, I hear you on that, Olive Octopus. I'm trying not to get too bogged down with keeping up with news or, just the state of things and from all different angles and things like that. It's just like, oh, it's a bit much, but I like a little balance. I think that's what it is. I like balance, and that's why I kind of waffle between like podcasts and videos on YouTube and stuff like that, and audiobooks or books, because I also go through phases where I'm on YouTube just watching like planner videos constantly of like people updating, on like what books they're using and journals and like journal with me videos and stuff like that. And it's like, I like being, in a book and knowing that, I've hours to sort of get to know the characters and be lost in their world and not mine. I'm down to do absolutely nothing productive. You know what, Mark? You are in the right stream because I'm doing nothing productive and just something fun. Well, this one turned out really good in terms of like, I like how the colors sort of blend and sit on top of each other. That's nice. This is a very random looking piece, but I don't mind. I doom scrolled too much this weekend. I did too, Pop Out Gal. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. You bounced it with 4 different watercolor paintings. That's good though. Yeah. Yeah, you staying informed is important. Definitely, for sure. But getting, doom scrolling or getting really down on things and having it affect your mental health is not good either. So it's trying to find that balance, I think. Wanting to know what's going on around you, and also just in the world generally, but also needing to have some boundaries around mental health and, feeling hopeful and feeling joy and finding time for yourself too. I have to say, I love this talk about the books that we recommended that we're reading and stuff. This is so good. I'm going to have such a long list of books to put on hold and try and take out. That's going to be great. Oh, Mark, you deleted IG from your phone. That's probably a good idea. Yeah. It says these snow days I get to visit all of my stationery streams. Yay! I'm glad you're here, Dragon Drawer. Oh, thanks, Sandy. I'm still working from home. I think ice might be all that's holding up some of these branches. Ooh, yeah, I think you're right, Olive Octopus. Also, I think my car is still frozen to the concrete. Yeah. I lived in Toronto when we had a huge major ice storm, and it literally encased everything in ice. And so it was beautiful, but also scary because, trees and berries and things like that, they were forever sort of encased in this ice. And even though it melted, and obviously, the next day everything fell off the trees and stuff because of just the weight of being held together. As the ice melted, things just kind of, let go. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Having everything sort of encased in this, it's frozen. Everything is frozen. And you sort of have to let it melt or melt it gently because, it's extremes. It's the extreme cold and yeah, I agree, Spicy. I've also realized my favorite hobby has become watching other people create art, use their stationary items, than not using my own. I know. You know what, too? It's like a curiosity, right? It's how do you use? It's when I love watching Olive Octopus paint with inks because, I'm how are you using your inks? And I love the swatches and, it's just it's this satisfaction of seeing someone else use their stationery, even if you may not have the time to dig out your own or you just not in the mood for it, which I totally get. Sometimes it's an effort, right? If I wasn't streaming, I wouldn't be doing this right now. I'd be I don't know what I would be doing, probably listening to an audiobook or something, but yeah, it's just one of those things unless it's an effort, unless you sort of take out your supplies or have them sitting on your desk, which I like to do because if I'm not looking at it, then it's that much harder to kind of get motivated to do these things. Even though when you're doing it and after you've done it, after you've sort of played around with your stationery, I always feel, just a relief of I did it. I did something. I used my stationery today, right? And the more often you do it, and the more regular you are playing with stationery and using it and stuff like that, it all adds up, right? That's why I like having a sketchbook of my paintings and my pieces, because even if I don't feel like they're all, a piece of art, they're just kind of, scribbles and things sometimes too. But it's fine because it shows that I'm using my stationery and it builds up, an evolution of usage, which shows that this is how I started using it, and this is how it's kind of going, right? I really do like this palette because it's very fitting for today. I think just feeling off, and yeah, it's kind of, there's like a little bright spots, but overall it's kind of earthy, and we're trying to stay grounded a little bit. And you can kind of see the colors are more vibrant on watercolor paper, because it is watercolor paper. So it does take up a lot more ink. It soaks up a lot more ink. You can put a lot more ink down. You can layer a lot more and blend, and use water to kind of spread them out and stuff like that, which, you know, if you're using DRP or thin paper, it's a little bit limited in that way. But this is partly why I like doing the same sort, like I like using the same inks, doing the same sort of piece or exercise on different paper, in different books, because, you know, if you sort of limit yourself to one book or one type of paper to do something like this, to explore and do abstract art and things like that, just for the sake of like playing with your stationery, or playing with your inks and your paints and things like that. You know, if you're not trying and experimenting with all kinds of different papers, then you might be missing out on seeing how, you know, those different papers sort of bring out different properties of your inks or your paints, or your other stationery. And it's all part of enjoying. It's all part of enjoying your inks and what you already have and what you can try out as well. I'm creating a rule on certain days. I have to paint or create something. I like that rule, even if it's only for 10 minutes. Yeah. Oh, Dragon Drawer, welcome to the club. Thanks so much for the sub. I appreciate you. I missed the last 2 Sundays, so it'll be long overdue this weekend. Yes, I noticed, Olive Octopus. You weren't there. I know. You had a reason, a good reason. Philly Pen Show and all those things. And storms. Life, I would say, too. But I look forward to if you don't follow Olive Octopus, you should. Because they're great streams, and Sunday streams are actually really, like, I like the weekday streams because I'm up early. Either I'm doing my walking exercise or I'm journaling before the kids get up, and it sort of gives me a little bit of time, you know, to get my head in the space for the day. And I like hopping onto Olive Octopus streams just to, like, it's very relaxing, you know, we're painting or whatever and swatching and stuff like that, playing with inks. But Sundays are great because, like, I'm usually at my desk or, like, you know, trying to sort of get through chores and stuff, and it's very chill. So I can't wait for when Olive Octopus is streaming again. And you all help keep me accountable to myself to make time for those things. Yes, I feel the same way, Lisa. Like, if I wasn't streaming, like I said, I probably wouldn't be doing this right now. You know, it might be later in the day or it might be another day. But for me, knowing that I have, you know, a stream commitment that I want to hold myself to, even if I'm feeling a little off or whatnot, if I'm sniffly and stuff, it's like, this is the time to do something that's, you know, artsy, and something that, like, if I'm going to sit here for an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is, I might as well do this, right? And as long as people are like, I'll watch this, then I'll do it. Oh, I love watching both of you create. Thanks, Dragon Drawer. I'm going back in the chat because I missed a little bit. I'm reading Endurance by Scott Kelly, about first American to spend a year in space. Oh, cool. Yeah, I would like that. I've been taking photos. Olive Octopus, thanks for the resub. I've been taking photos of the ice in the sun. Yeah, was hanging on strong since this weekend. Watch out for the icicles. Because as fun as they are, they can also be dangerous. Here you can save this. Aha! Thank you, Spicy. I will. I'll keep this on my screen. Yeah, no power makes it difficult. I know. No power makes a lot of things difficult. Even if it's like for a few hours or so, it's like, ugh. Yeah, it's my Sunday morning religious experience. Let's all convene on Sunday. All of Octopus's stream. Yeah, I knew you would keep us all accountable. I will have my tea and hydrate. I just want to say that I appreciate you all for doing this and putting yourselves out there and helping create community. Oh, Arco Pen, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I agree. I appreciate all the creators and streamers and everyone who shares and who even shows up, right? Like just showing up to a stream, being here, and I see a lot of you in other streams, right? So it's really nice. It feels like such a small but like cozy community, and small in the way that like there are a lot of people in this community, but it feels like we're like a small family. Like we take care of each other, we look out for each other. We all kind of feel the same things, right? And I love how we encourage each other too. And tease and troll sometimes. So I appreciate that. Yeah, Papa Gal, if you can join on Sundays. You know what's funny about the Sunday stream? Olive Octopus goes for, do you go for like 3 or 4 hours or something like that? Like really long, because I'll start with the stream, and here in Pacific time, it's 7 a.m. So it's kind of like the perfect time for me where I'm like having a coffee, I'm journaling, and Lisa's doing swatching or painting and stuff. And the funny thing is, usually on Saturday mornings, we also do our grocery run. And so I'll leave the house, get groceries, come back, and Lisa's still painting. I'm like, yay! I can just hop back on. So it's a great time, for sure. There are tree limbs a foot in diameter laying in my backyard. Oh my goodness. I'm mostly staying inside. Yeah. Oh man. As long, like, if you have to leave the house, you have to. But if you can stay inside and just kind of get through it. I started streaming because I needed more connection. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. It's been wonderful. I agree. I was always kind of nervous about streaming because, especially watching like Brad stream and other people, and it always, I'm like, I'm not natural at like having small talk or like just keeping a conversation going. I think a lot of us can sort of attest to being introverted, or at least like, if you're social or you're socializing, you need a lot of time to kind of recuperate and recharge, and so I was always kind of nervous about streaming, but I love the sort of sharing aspect of it, like showing people how to do certain things and encouraging others to also do it. I love that part of it, and so that sort of in line with workshops and stuff, it's like we're doing this together. Or if you kind of watch this and you want to do it later, then you can always pull this back up and kind of do it along with me, or, you know, and it feels great to think about everyone in the community using their stationery and finding joy from using it. So if I can show a different way of doing that, or like trying something new if you're not comfortable or you don't feel like you could do, you know, florals or something like that. It's like, yes, you can. It's not that hard if you just, you know, go with it, go with the flow and see what comes out, and then keep doing it, right? Just like keep practicing, keep having fun. And I've really enjoyed streaming. I've really enjoyed, and just doing videos in general, I really like. And the difference between a YouTube video that's curated is that I'm cutting out a lot of the sort of in-betweens and the, you know, where I'm kind of setting things up and stuff like that, or swatching or whatever. Because otherwise it would be a long video. But what I like about streaming is that it's just the setting of it, where we're chatting, we're kind of talking about things and sharing things with each other as well. It's kind of a give and take. And otherwise I'm just talking to myself, which I also do during the day, but at least you're here. And this is kind of like the behind the scenes, or like the long form version of what a YouTube video would be, or where you kind of like, you're talking at people and they're kind of taking it in. But this is like, we're having a conversation, we're chatting, and it feels like a hangout at, you know, like a pen show or something, where we take out our inks and just mess around and, you know, throw ink on paper and see what happens, or swatch inks. I'm like, you know, it's fun. So yeah, you shoot for about 3 hours. It's a good time. Yeah. For a full dominant industry page plus some. Yeah. And plus you don't feel like you have to sort of get it done or something, right? It feels a little bit more relaxing, where you have time and you can chat and stop and take a break if you have to. I think you can do it, Mark. It's crazy how this common interest isn't threatening at any level. Yeah, we're just so supportive. I think that's what it is. And I've, you know, I'm sure there are people in this community who aren't as supportive, or feel threatened, or, you know, feel like they need to compete or something like that. But I think for the most part, anyone I've sort of come in contact with, or engaged with or chatted with, is very supportive and is very like, hey, you know, you do your thing. I love it. I'll watch, I'll support and stuff like that. It may not be my thing, but it's all good, right? It's like trying to decide on favorite inks. I was thinking about this while watching Brad's stream yesterday, I think, where he was grading or ranking the Pilot Irishizuku inks. And it was just kind of funny where in the chat, where, you know, some people are like, no, this is a great ink, and other people are like, this is the worst ink ever. And it just goes to show you how subjective this hobby can be, and yet we can still agree to like the hobby itself, and we can still agree to like the inks, and you know, I painted a cat in all tones, number 11 for Butler Stationery. Ooh, awesome. Pretty large painting. That's cool. Hi, Make Enthusiast. So grateful to both of you for sharing your talents and thoughts. So grateful for you being here in this community. I drew cats. I draw cats, Pal Gal. Really, I couldn't tell by your username. You also have cute cats, so... That's a message I tell my young students. Find what moves you and you enjoy, and just keep doing it. That's a great message. We should definitely encourage young people and kids to follow that, right? Like find your joy and do it. Keep doing it. Because as an adult, and you have adulting responsibilities and things like that, I feel like we make less time for this, because a lot of a lot of times we sort of think like, this is such a waste of time. Why am I sitting here playing with inks, right? And I get that. It's a common, like, instead of this, I could be doing chores. I could be cleaning the house. Like, I could, so many other things that could be more productive or could be seen as, you know, a better use of time. And yet, a lot of doing this kind of stuff, a lot of, you know, finding what brings you joy and doing that, whatever it is, reading, you know, any kind of hobby, the more you do it, the more joy you're building up. And that is never a waste of time because it's not something you can quantify in the moment, right? You can't have a list of like, I did laundry and this chore and that chore and great, it's done. And then you move on. This is one of those things that's constantly, it's a process that you're constantly doing this. You're building up, you know, sort of a reservoir of joy, of practicing something that builds not only confidence, right? It builds muscle memory if you're drawing something or if you're doing something with your hand, but also it builds or it satisfies our curiosity of like color and abstract things, concepts. A lot of times where we're curious about like how colors, you know, blend together and things like that. It's very like, it's a natural thing. And that's what kids do all the time, right? Like they're mixing things together to see what will happen. And I feel like as adults, we kind of get lost a little bit where we don't do that anymore. We're kind of like, whatever, who cares? But we should care. I think it's very important. Oh, I really got you started streaming. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad too. I started doing it after I was like, you know what? After teaching my workshops at the SF Pen Show, I was like, I really enjoy just, you know, being around people who are open-minded and want to do art and want to be creative, or, you know, just appreciate the time to be creative. And yeah, I was so glad I started streaming. And this is why I want to stream at least twice a week, a little bit more. We'll see as we go how much time I can kind of set aside for streaming, but I really do like it. So yeah, I think you hit it on the head, Papa Gal. YouTube videos are great, especially if you just want to see something specific, right? Like you have a question. How does this nib write? Or, you know, what, like if you're looking for a review on a pen or something like that. It's like, well, yeah, I want to just like see what I'm asking for. But this kind of thing where we're hanging out or we're doing creative things, I appreciate when it's like a longer sort of session or a time where you feel like you're hanging out with someone, virtually even, you know, or, you know, they don't need to know you're there, but having someone in the background or watching someone else do something creative or doing something artsy and seeing them in their zone is, I really enjoy it because it sort of motivates me to be like, yeah, you know what? I want to do this too, or I want to do something creative during this time. I don't see chores as a better use of time. Yeah, exactly. Right? Chores are a waste of time. Pen show without all the noise. That's a good way of describing it. It's not overwhelming. You're in your own space or where you're kind of comfortable. Yeah, I agree. Doing more art, or do more art is an intention I've set for myself for this year. That's a great intention. Do more art. Yeah. Those don't fill my cup. They're just part of living. Oh, I love that, Papa Gal. You coming in here with these inspirational phrases. I love it. Way more personal. Yeah, just to be acknowledged, right? Like just to, like, we're all here. We're all in this. We all love parts of this hobby, whether you're into fountain pens or, you know, paint or whatever it be. books and papers, or if you're into all of those things, like I am, then you have a place here. And there's more than just one of you. There's a lot of us who have the same kind of, passions. And it's kind of nice to know you're not alone in like being obsessed about paper. No, I get it. I get it. If you're obsessed about paper or other things, I totally get it. You're the one that brings it out of me. I'm glad. Stay away from roads that have lots of trees. Yeah. I know down trees are because they will bring down power lines and cause diversions and things like that, where you have to like detour around where there are branches or trees and stuff. But yeah, they can cause a lot of damage. That's not fun. I know I've seen it a million times, but what notebook are you using to paint it? Yeah, both of them. So this one's the Galen Leather Tomoe River Paper notebook, the everyday book. This one is Hahnemühle, which is German, has this like rooster watercolor paper. And this is just a cold pressed landscape type of book, which you can obviously use it like a portrait as well, but yeah, it's good quality paper. That's the thing. Like I use all sorts of watercolor paper. Canson XL is kind of my go-to because you can find it at Michael's or your local sort of art supply store. But if I wanted to have something of like really good quality, just as a way to treat myself when it comes to like playing around with inks that I want to keep in a sketchbook. So it's a Galen. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. It's Galen Leather and it's in standard size. So it fits into a TN Traveler's Notebook cover. And that's partly why I use this size, because I like the space for painting and kind of the layout that it sort of works for me for doing this type of painting piece. But also I can throw it into a TN cover if I want to, and it's quite portable. So it's not too small, passport size or something like that. But it's still portable if I wanted it to be. But I do like that Galen Leather has different sizing of this blank TRP notebook. I think they have quite a few sizes actually. I like new TRP, but Stalogy paper is very vibrant for inks. Yeah, interesting. I do have Stalogy notebooks, and they are great. Yeah. New TRP is kind of, I do like it as well, but I kind of agree where like, I don't know if it's as vibrant sometimes, or if it's like the best sort of paper for painting or, bringing out ink properties, things like that. But I do still like the paper itself. And I like that it's thin, and I like the crinkliness of it when you're sort of flipping through. I haven't been able to find them. Oh, yeah. I know Galen Leather shows up at certain pen shows, but also there might be some retailers who carry their notebooks. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'd have to think about where else you would be able to find them. But have a good one, Brooklyn Becca. I'll see you next time. Yeah, look on their site again, but also they are based in Turkey, so I understand the shipping and the time it would take to get to you and stuff like that. But Yeah, I was thinking Atlas Dragon Drawer. Don't know if they have the notebooks because I don't know a lot of retailers who carry the notebooks. I know like the leather sort of products are kind of the base of what they would carry from Galen Leather. Pen cases, notebook covers and stuff. But it's worth or even Van Ness maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And speaking of making time for art, this is my goal for this year, is to do more floral drawings. And so this is why I do the Monday streams, because it kind of requires its own stream. And I love painting abstract flowers, but I also like to practice actual flower drawings based on reference photos, because it's great practice for me. Let me just close this. It's great practice for me, especially when I want to sort of build up my memory base of what flowers look like, their natural shapes, how I can sort of draw them by hand. And so it still helps for me to practice drawing them from a reference photo, knowing that this is what they look like. I'm just trying to capture and copy onto paper. And so I'm using this Hemlock and Oak weekly and daily undated planner. And in the daily pages, because it's sort of, A5, large size paper, I thought this is kind of a great space to do some of this drawing. And while I know that I can't do this on a daily basis, just because, it takes a little bit of time, like just getting, preparing stationery, like bringing out the supplies and stuff like that I need, sitting down, drawing from a reference. It's just the process of doing that. I do need to set aside time. I have to make time for this. And so my goal this year is to make time for this. And one of the ways is to do it on a stream, so that I know that at least once a week I will do this. So that's kind of how I've been intentionally making time for art as well. Van Ness has some. Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, Olive Octopus. Thanks for that. A5 size right now. Yeah. I know even if you order directly from Galen Leather, I've seen their notebooks kind of come and go in stock too. They don't always have all the sizes stocked. I want to do something like that with bugs. Yeah, that's a great idea. Bugs, insects, butterflies, things like that too. It's a great idea. Anything really like what you're kind of into or interested in exploring. It's a fun practice to draw from reference. Find a book, or find, even on Pinterest, right? Like find pictures or references where you kind of can explore like the different lines and stuff. It's really fun. And don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to make it look exactly the way it does in the reference, right? Because you're interpreting it by way of what you see. So it doesn't have to look exactly like that. But let yourself kind of explore and capture whatever you see on paper. And I always think, what you end up drawing is what you felt was important in what you saw. You don't have to draw the whole thing. Even with, drawing bouquets and stuff, it could take forever, because there are so many different flowers and leaves and things. And if you're drawing every single line, I don't feel that that's necessary to capture what you're seeing. And so, yeah, I try to keep that in mind when I'm looking at a reference photo and it's overwhelming, where I'm like, whoa, there's so many different elements to this. A lot of, petals or leaves or whatever. And I kind of break it down. It's like, okay, well, what are the simple shapes? How many do I want to draw? And usually it's like, a handful. And then I just kind of capture the essence of what I'm seeing. You don't have to draw every single line that's there. I started trying some botanical drawing last year. I haven't really put it out there. That's awesome though that you're trying it. It is a great practice, and it's good to kind of add, to build on it. You have to start somewhere, and I find especially with trying to draw from reference, a lot of times you're kind of bogged down with details, or you're trying to you're like, I can see it, but why doesn't it look the same on paper, right? And that's why I stopped drawing portraits because I found when I'm drawing like figures or humans or even like big animals like dogs or something, I was just like, why doesn't it look the way that I'm seeing it? Why can I not capture the same lines and the same angles and stuff? And I'm sure with practice, you eventually get to a point where you're like, yeah, this is more like what I want it to look like, or capturing it more accurately to what you're seeing. But yeah, this is why I moved from trying to draw like, people or, mostly people, portraits, things like that, and to more sort of natural lines where it's like very imperfect, very rugged. Being out there in the woods is so peaceful. I agree. Being out in nature in general. Going on hikes, I love that. And seeing what's out there. Excessive comparison is the end bringer of joy. Exactly, Spicy. I never want to leave. I'm so close to running to the woods and living off grid. I will come with you. Let's be hermits. Yeah. I know I couldn't do that though. We'd have to try to find a way to stream and watch streams. Still stay connected somehow. My painting instructor used to yell at me about that. Just paint what you see, not what you know. Yes. That is great. Thought about that many times, yeah. My husband and I are looking at moving to Canada near you. Ooh, awesome. Yeah, I love the West Coast. I love the East Coast too. East Coasters rule, but when it comes to Canada, you either want to end up on either coast because the West Coast is actually more mild. So I will say that. East Coast is beautiful, but we have mountains. We have the Rockies close to us. Close to British Columbia, anyways. That is cool. The trees have an energy field like all living things. Yeah. Forest baths for... Yeah, nature literally is healing. I was reading something recently, and it kind of went into like natural vibrations. So if you're holding a flower or you're holding a bouquet, you get those vibrations off of those flowers, or if they're not dead too. I mean, it probably helps if they're they're like you're touching a flower in nature. But also plants and things, right? So if you're like holding a plant or you're touching a plant, the leaves, you're talking to it and stuff. It's not crazy because your vibes, and you're vibing off of natural vibes, and everything has a field of energy around it. And so you're pulling in vibrations from being in nature and being, near trees and big pieces of natural living things. And of course I think this is why you feel so much better, and why it helps going for walks and going on like hikes and stuff for myself, where I feel so much better, because not only are you among, just in a relaxing setting, and I think that's where, it helps us relax as well and feel like we're grounded and part of nature. But also, it's that like calm and comfortable quiet that helps me think too, where, I feel like I'm in a zone where it's not too quiet. There's natural sounds happening. But I'm able to think, I'm able to process information, or, when I'm worrying about something, or trying to make a decision or something like that. I feel like that's when it really helps to go for a walk, or just be outside, or take a shower, because somehow the best ideas happen in the shower. I don't know. Just went and got the library. It's a chunky chunker. Oh wow, that that is chonky. That is a book. People have more than five senses. In controlled studies, people were able to tell when being watched. Yeah, definitely. And it's senses that aren't, you can't explain them in a physical way, but it's there. It's just like the sense of knowing when someone close to you is in trouble, or, they need your help or something like that. I know many times I would, when my kids were babies, I would wake up in the middle of the night just with a sense of like, go check on them kind of thing, a feeling that they needed me. And more often than not, it was because, of something, and they needed something. There was one time when I woke up in the middle of the night just randomly. I was like in deep sleep, and I woke up and I had this feeling like I had to go check on my kids. So I went, and my kids I have twins, and they were in cribs at the time. And one of them had just a piece of hair, or a strand of hair wrapped around her thumb really tight. And of course, that's not a good thing, depending on how long it's there. And so, it's one of those situations where you're like, I'm glad that, whatever sense it was that woke me up, or kind of came into my mind, where I felt like I should probably go and check on something, intuition, that kind of thing. It's always I feel like it's a quiet voice inside ourselves, easy to ignore, but a lot of times, if you don't ignore it, more often than not, it's probably worth checking out. Human instinct is really powerful. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But a lot of times we don't hear our instinct, or, it's so quiet. It's because there's so much noise around us, literally, or, in our mind, where we're preoccupied with other things. We're worried about other things, stressing, or, and our instinct is very quiet, and it's sometimes easy to miss. But if we're tapped into, being able to sense different things that we might not see or hear, literally, physically, sometimes we miss out. 1,000 pages? Yeah, if it sounds good to you, just go with it. I like indigenous ideas of connection of all living things. Yeah, just go with it, Mark. I agree. I definitely like that too. All of your ideas sit in your head and are percolating. Yeah. Then you relax in the shower, they tend to. Yes. And also when I'm working out, like I'm on, the treadmill or whatever, or going for a walk where I'm just like, I just want to go for a relaxing walk. I feel like that's when I'm able to process a lot more. And so I have to like carry a little notebook with me just so I could write down like all these random ideas that come to my head. Where it's like, oh, I should do this. And then later I won't remember that because it was just a fleeting thought. Um, but a lot of times when I do actually write it down later, I kind of think about it and brainstorm like what that idea actually means, how I could make it happen and stuff like that. It's like, okay, great, something else to sort of work on or try out. But they are fleeting sort of thoughts when you're busy doing something. And usually it's like, when you're doing something physical or where your mind can kind of relax and let go of these thoughts. And yeah, try and capture those ideas for sure. Plants could tell when their peers were being destroyed in the other room. All living things are connected, which can be powerful aid to know, but also a double-edged sword. Knowing the pain that exists is shared. Yeah. It's kind of like, every action that you take creates a ripple, and it could be a small ripple, so it doesn't really affect a lot of people around you. Maybe it just affects you or your immediate sort of, family or people around you. But some actions create bigger ripples, and you don't actually see the effects of that ripple until, later in time. Maybe in your future, maybe someone else feels the ripple effect. I kind of like thinking of life like that, where it's like, everything I put out there, I want it to be something that's helpful, that's meaningful, that's encouraging, that's supportive. And that's another reason why I like sharing this, my creativity and my sort of how I find joy in exploring my stationery, like how I use stationery, whether it's planners and journals. And yes, it's a very small scale in the big picture of life, playing with stationery. But hope I'm, in sharing this, my hope is that it creates that ripple effect where other people try it, other people are encouraged to, do their own creative art or whatever they kind of feel comfortable doing. And just like if you have the time or if you can make time for something that makes you happy, then hopefully seeing someone do, this kind of thing, hopefully that encourages other people as well. And the more, like I said, the more you do this kind of like, something that makes you happy, the more that you do that, the more you're going to feel the effects of it. The more you'll find that joy, the more you'll feel relaxed, and you can actually, go with the flow and plug into that moment, plug yourself into that moment and go with it. Oh, have a good one, Dragon Drawer. The crushies, that's awesome. You weren't getting all your nourishment here? We always have space here, for sure. Oh, there's a show called Ripple on Netflix. I don't think I've seen anything about it. I should check it out. Oh, awesome, Papa Gal. I'm glad you like it. I want to watch it. Yeah, I should look that up actually. Be nice to strangers. Yes, a random act of kindness keeps the doctor at bay. Random act of kindness and like karma, things like that, right? Where it's like the whole point of a random act of kindness is to make someone else's day, bring a little bit of joy to their day. But I think it also brings us joy because we're doing something without expecting something in return. And yet, I think the more people do stuff like that, the more likely it is that you will get something in return. And even if that's not the point, because it shouldn't be, it still comes around, right? Like the more people do kind things for other people, the more likely it will happen to you, because it's just, this is how we are. We just do things for other people, and so you're bound to get that kind of kindness back to you. 3 Body Problem on Netflix. I think I've heard of that. There's a good book series on it. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. It does feel good. Challenge, do something nice and tell no one about it. Yeah, I love that kind of thing too. It's like an inside joke with yourself. Right, where you're just like, you do something secret, but it's like your secret. And it's, the other person might not even realize that something good happened to them, or that someone did something intentionally to make their day easier or more enjoyable. And yet it's like your own little, your little secret with the universe, or your little inside joke. It's like, today I did something, but also it's something you can write in your journal. It's like, I did something that, I hope makes someone smile or something. It's I love when like you go on a walk or something, and it has happened to me quite a few times where I've gone for a walk and I see little I don't know what they call it in general, but they're like little like fairy gardens or something like that, where people leave little like painted rocks and sometimes little figures in their backyard or front yard, like, in the what am I trying to say, in like the tree stumps or something like that, like where it's like they're kind of hidden but they're not. If you're looking and experiencing on your walk or wherever you are, you'll most likely see these things, but they are hidden in the way that they're not just like, on the sidewalk. So a lot of times I've gone on walks and there's like little things, and I think there, people do different, there's like painted rocks. There's also like little messages people leave sometimes. I've also seen little crochet, like little animals and stuff like that, where it has like a little message attached to it that's like, this is yours, you found it, so this is meant for you, and hopefully it brings you some joy. And it's, it's done by people who just enjoy crocheting, or it's done by people who enjoy painting rocks, or kids who, want to do the activity of painting a rock, and then they just leave it there. And it's just, it's like a little, probably brightens someone's day, and, or at the very least, just, puts a smile on someone's face. If they do realize when they see you didn't display it, it will mean that much more. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. If they do realize that you did something for them, but you didn't make it like a show. You didn't make a show of it. And it's just something you sort of acknowledge each other and, right? That's awesome. That's so good. But let's see. Let's take a closer look at these as I'm chatting away. Which I appreciate the company so much. That's really nice. These are great colors. I like them. Oh, I actually used the purple last time as well. That's interesting. Maybe I'm in a purple. I'm in my purple era. It's possible. I think I like this palette better than this one. It seems a little warmer. Probably because of the little bit of red there. That's nice. These bouquets or pieces, I like how they look different from each other, because in this one I decided to use the Currant Crumble Pie ink for more of like an access color, or access, you know what I'm talking about, accessory, secondary sort of color. But in this one, I kind of wanted to play around with blending it, and adding it directly to the dark purple or the bright purple. I'm glad I did that because it looks really cool. It has sort of this fiery effect where it's sitting on the purple. I thought it would kind of blend in a little bit, but it does actually stand out, which is very cool. Bouquet books. Yeah, you could sell old bouquet books or smaller ones if I ever wanted. Yeah, when I teach my workshops at the pen show in SF, I actually brought my previous sketchbooks with me. So I have another one in the standard size, and then I have one in a B6 size. And then I have like random sort of papers, which are standalone, and that's fine. But I've brought the sketchbooks with me just to kind of show people the evolution in my art process. And it's kind of funny where it's like, you know, years ago when I first started painting with inks and exploring how to do it in an abstract way, and then, you know, drawing flower outlines on top and stuff like that. When I first started doing it, it was kind of like disjointed. It was like randomized, you know, it looked very like non-floral sometimes, which is fine because I was kind of building, you know, building my muscle memory in terms of how I would want to draw flowers and the floral shapes. But it's just kind of a good reminder, like we all start somewhere, right? And I do like keeping my sketchbooks, even though I cringe just a little bit when I look at some of my older pieces of when I first started painting. And but it's, you know, it's interesting, and it's such a great reminder to look back and see where you started and how you've evolved, how your style has evolved. And a lot of times, you know, people are like, I can't do this, or it's not going to look like this. And that's the point. It shouldn't look like this. It should be your unique style. And to build that unique style, you have to do it over and over and over again. You have to practice, and you have to build on what you first did. And in order to do that, you have to keep going. You just have to keep going. And not just do it once and then give up. And even though a lot of us, you know, we don't have time, we have to make time for this. And so a lot of, you know, it starts to sort of fall off. But if we can make the intention to set aside time to do this regularly, whether it's once a week or every day for 10 minutes, right? Like Papa Gal. If you set aside time per day or per week, or, you know, in a regular sort of habit, then you're going to build on top of what you're doing. And that's the kind of progression that you'll start to see. So it's really interesting, and I encourage people to keep a sketchbook, or if you're going to use loose paper, have a place for it, have a folder or something. because I don't know. I think for me personally, I like to see progression over time. And this is why I like documenting things and memory keeping and stuff, because I'm a nostalgic person. I like looking back in time and seeing, the evolution and the change in things. Even if it's even if it's just in my art. But I would have a hard time parting with them. Yeah, I don't know if I would ever get rid of old sketchbooks. And I keep journals, right? And I've kept journals for over 20 years. So yeah, hydrate. Yeah, these colors are cool, aren't they? Yeah, that one looks great. I was going to say, going back through your first sketchbook, show you all the growth. Yeah, exactly. All the growth from when you first started doing something to now, right? And a lot of times I find it motivating, where you're like, why am I doing this, and why should I do this? Why should I keep going? And it's a great reminder of why, because you're constantly growing, you're changing, you're evolving, and your art will follow that. And it's really interesting to see. I'm too ambitious with my nice journals. I set the bar high for the next page each time and feel pressure. Yeah. It is tough. It is tough, especially if you are a very visual person, like if you like your planners or your journals or your sketchbooks to have a certain aesthetic, and you're building that aesthetic and everything sort of has to fit that mold. It is really tough. And I've sort of had to grapple with that, because when you're sharing it online or you're creating content, people want to see something that they can aspire to. And that's not the case for everyone, because a lot of people, I think the core, like when it comes to fundamentals, people want to see something that works. So it's functional, or, you're using it in a creative way, you're using it regularly, and whatever sort of works for you, people want to see that. They want to see what works for you. How are you using your books, right? This is why people are curious and watch planner lineups or the kind of journals you use. And it's because people want to see how you're using these tools or, books. And a lot of times people want to see something that they could also that gives them an idea, or that inspires them in some way to use their books, or something where they're like, you know what, I love that layout. That's what I want it to look like. So it's something that they could kind of mimic or use in their own journals. And it's tough, because in that case, then you have to sort of think about like, ooh, is this something people would like to see? Or is this something worth creating content or filming? And yes, I do have planners and journals where I just like scribble or write like stream of consciousness thoughts, where it's not pretty and it's not grammatically correct. Lots of spelling mistakes, lots of grammar mistakes, but I don't care, because I'm just using it for the sake of writing thoughts down. But I also kind of grapple with like, what do I share? What is sort of personal and doesn't need to be shared? And what can I put out there to, be helpful for people, versus just kind of showing like, great, this is my beautiful journal. But what's helpful for someone to see? So yeah, it's like a balance, and if you don't share your journals or create content around your planners and stuff like that, then you're doing it for yourself, which is great. But also I have high expectations of myself sometimes in terms of if I create a spread or I'm writing in my planner, I'm like, why am I writing so messy? Like, why is my handwriting like this? And why doesn't it look prettier or whatever? So even if it is for yourself, right? It's like you have to meet your own expectations. And it's easier said than done to try and be like, it doesn't, if you're using it functionally and it's filling the need that you have in a book, then it doesn't have to be aesthetic. It doesn't have to be pretty or beautiful or whatever. But it's easier said than done, because a lot of times, we want it to look good. We want it to look cohesive, or, it has to look organized or something. And that's this hobby. That's trying to find the balance between liking using different books and stuff and also enjoying what it looks like visually, and it reflects what we like to see. But that's why I always have like a scrapbook or like a scribble book or something like that, where you're like, what, in this book I can make as much of a messy and no rules kind of spread. And you can play around with it. Or, have sketchbooks where you're like, this sketchbook is for just playing with inks or just playing with paints, or making a mess in this. And that's what it's for. So feel free to do it, right? Yeah. I do have a lot of books like that. Over time, they start to get filled up with messy scrawls and ideas of drawings and stuff like that. But I also like to keep those for, some time. Maybe not permanently, maybe not forever. But I do like to kind of keep them sometimes to remind myself, like, there's space for just letting loose and just, creating a mess. And I can dedicate notebooks to that because, we have a lot of notebooks sometimes. And if you want a reason to use those books, it doesn't always have to be to create something, beautiful and something worth sharing. It could just be a personal space for you to explore and experiment and, have fun in. But that's my spiel. That's my take on having, notebooks that don't have to be visually appealing or aesthetic based. But anyways, I think I'm going to hop off. I had a lot of fun chatting. I do have to go through the chat and note down the book recommendations, because there were a lot of good ones. So I can't wait to put some of those things on hold at the library and work through some books that I haven't I haven't heard of and stuff. I just feel so motivated when I join these streams. Yeah, I think we motivate each other. I think all of us sharing our perspective and the way we sort of look at, stationery, or look at this hobby in general, is really, really interesting and inspiring too. I think I need to record snippets of you every day for motivation. Yeah, I should create an app where it's like, the thought for today is have a scribble journal. Have a book where you could just let go and explore, and no one has to judge you for it because you're allowed to have that space. So give yourself that space. We always have space for that here, just to have fun and just to create for the sake of creating something, right? Motivated and inspired. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel so much better. Maybe not physically. I still feel like I'm coming down with a cold or something. Um, but I definitely feel a lot more, I feel more relaxed. I feel more inspired. And it's because of all of you. So thank you so much for joining the stream. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, for being you, and giving back to our community in a supportive and encouraging and kind way. And yeah, we see each other in different streams. So I'll see you in the next stream. And if you're around, I'll see you next Monday, unless something comes up. But my plan is to stream again next Monday. And we will do some planning and journaling and drawing from reference. So if that's something that interests you, how to draw based on a reference photo, especially if it's floral related, because that's my focus, then join me on Monday, and we'll do it together. And then I'll see you next Wednesday as well. But I'll see you in other streams. I'll see you in Lisa's stream and Brad's stream, Mike's stream. And yeah, we'll keep chatting. Oh, thanks, Olive Octopus. I'm sure I will feel better soon. Just gotta drink lots of tea, have some soup. Relocating ice off my driveway while it's sunny. Yes, good luck with that. Stay safe. Don't slip. And stay warm, always. I'm so glad you streamed, even though you may not be feeling it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super sick or anything like that, so I will take it. I can deal with a headache or a little sniffle here and there. I still want to be here. And like I said, you all fill my cup, so I feel a lot better just mentally. And I will take it. So have an amazing creative week. I love that. Your homework is to create one thing by next Monday. Yes, report back. Yeah, but definitely. I encourage that as well. Do one creative thing and play with your stationery. Go find your joy and do more of it. Have a cozy day. Have a cozy week. Stay warm. Stay safe. Let's look out for each other. And I'll see you in the next stream. I appreciate you so much. Have a good one. Bye.